Hello, boys and girls. Hopefully you're seeing this and hopefully you are studying hard for your math final, which will take place on Tuesday. As I was looking at the test the other day, I realized we hadn't really reviewed some of the key vocabulary, like the 4 words you see on the screen. So I wanted to go over them really quickly with you, and hopefully you saw my post earlier and you've reviewed them already. It's been a long time since we've talked about terms, like terms, constants, and coefficients, but it's good to review them because they're not vocabulary words that are going to go away. You're going to be using them for the rest of your math careers, basically. The first 2 you should be somewhat familiar with because we did practice combining like terms in class to prepare for the final. Now remember that a term would be literally just part of an expression. So then like terms would be terms that have the same variable, the same letter. So like terms, for example, would be something like 6x, and I don't know, 3x. They've both got an x attached, so you know that you could add them together, subtract them, whatever. Now a constant would be just a number in an expression. So for an example, if I had 6x, and at the end of 6x it had something like plus, why don't we say 4? 4 would be our constant, because it's just a number hanging out. Then coefficients would be the numbers in front of variables. So for example, with this 6x and 3x stuff from before, my coefficients would be 6 and 3. So if you haven't included these vocab words on your note card, maybe pause this video right now and write them down. If you have, let's look at a quick example that might help you. So given my expression 6x minus 5y plus 3x minus 1, I'm going to first identify all of the terms. I'm going to identify if there are any like terms. I'm going to say what are my constants, and then identify my coefficients. Before I get to that, what I'm going to do is just put boxes around each of my terms because that's going to help me identify which are terms. So the first one here is just 6x. Then I keep going because math reads left to right, and I include the negative in my next term, negative 5y. I keep going. The positive gets included with the 3x. And last but not least, I keep going, and the negative gets included with the 1. So when I'm listing my terms, what I've got is I have a positive 6x, comma, because we're making a list, negative 5y, because that negative gets included. I have a positive 3x. You don't need to write the plus sign because we always assume positive in math. And then finally I have a negative 1. Those are my terms. Notice how I'm making a list just like if I asked you to list your favorite foods. Now, if I'm trying to identify any like terms, I'm looking for something that has similar variables. Well, just kind of like the example we showed on the last screen, I've got a 6x and a 3x. Both of those have the variable x, so as I list my like terms, I just separate them with the comma again because we're just making a list. When I'm trying to figure out if there's a constant, I'm looking at my individual terms and seeing if there are any that don't have a variable. Which at the end, we've got negative 1. Now, if on the final you put positive 1, that would be wrong. This constant is a negative 1, so be careful of your signs. Finally, we're looking at the coefficients, which would be the numbers in front of the letters. The first one I have is 6. So I would include 6 on the list. The next one I have is negative 5. Finally, I have a 3 in front of the x. And I do not include negative 1 because it's not in front of a letter. Check it out, it's a constant. There's nothing behind here. So it cannot be a coefficient. All right, so if you study those and make sure you are being very careful including your negative signs, I think you should do just fine on the final. As always, children, you know Miss Pint believes in you. You can do this. Study hard, prepare, test well. Good luck, and I'll see you on Tuesday.